News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth with AllanSpices.com.
And I'm Maximilian, wishing you all a very happy start to National Entrepreneurship Week.
That's what we need, Max.
Excellent.
There we go. Okay, perfect. National Week. Okay, so that sounds good. All right. It's hard to make fun of that, though, Allan. That's pretty,
Well, there are a lot of great ideas, and then there are a lot of great ideas that you have to really wonder about.
Okay.
So,
it's not like Gorilla Suit Week or something like that.
Just remember, somebody somewhere said, we need to make gorilla suits.
Yeah, and a gorilla gram and things like that. So.
Somebody someplace had to think of that idea and then put a lot of time and effort behind it.
Okay, that sounds good. Was there anything else, Max? You look like there was something else you saw, or is it inappropriate? Or okay.
Well, we have several other ones related to it being Valentine's Day and everything, but I don't really care about that. That's too low-hanging fruit.
Well, it is Valentine's Day.
We also have Global Movie Day and Frederick Douglass Day.
Okay, well, you can't make fun of him either. He was a good dude. And
here we go. National Ferris Wheel Day.
Okay, now we got some. Hey, the Ferris wheel. We did that on our Great Moments in Building History.
We did.
So,
and it's also World Bonobo Day,
all right.
You're talking about primates again.
Okay, I think we're stretching now. So, all right, but anyway, hey, let's just lay this out there. We ran into some technical issues. We're supposed to be broadcasting from the home show this morning, Allan, but we had to scramble back here. We're just
it's
whatever.
all right. It's all right.
It's but we'll be there shortly.
We will, and I got to tell you, it is this year has got a great vibe.
Okay, good.
So for everybody that came by the booth yesterday and said howdy, howdy back to you. We had a lot of great conversations, a lot of great questions.
Oh, good. Okay.
We talked about everything from gardening to flooring to air conditioners. It was just amazing. The number of people that walked up to the booth and were like, hey, I liked that show about.
Right,
and then the topic was off and running for the next 10 or 15 minutes.
That's what we need. So, yeah, if you go to the home show of the Mid-South over at the Agri Center, the booth is in that western wing. I think
we're in the B wing.
The B wing. And, you're going to find it. You'll see the big Tool Talk radio signs, and Allan will be there with Allan's Spices laid out.
Oh, my goodness.
Shamelessly.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's why. Yeah, so if you're wondering. But anyway, but in the meantime, you can call or text us at 901-683-0989. Well, here we go. I'm looking down the list here, Allan. One of the things that you pointed out to me that a big topic of conversation with some of the contractors down there is the idea of aging in place, making your home ready for that stage of life.
Actually, it's not just one stage of life.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at all of the different vendors and you think about your home and the fact that your needs are going to change every 5 to 7 years.
Right.
So the needs of a person right now with 2 or 3 small children they need a nice big refrigerator. They need a place to feed kids. They need, so all those needs. But, then I was thinking, and I was actually talking to one of the hot water vendors, and he goes, oh, yeah. He goes, you need to see me about the time your little kids hit about 12 or 13 because you're going to need a lot more hot water.
Oh, yeah.
Teenagers bathe a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that is aging in place. That is adapting your home to each new stage of your life. And you need to be thinking about 5 years in advance on this.
Okay, perfect. So there we go. And it's nice that everybody down there is thinking that way. So I didn't ask you what your week in review was. So I didn't find out what the theme, or if it was something you just as soon forget, or
no. The theme was of finishing touches and spring prep.
Okay, there you go.
So they're going to be kind of
upbeat
upbeat this week.
Okay, so finishing touches and spring prep. I'm writing that down. Okay, and we have a cosmic homeowner because it's interesting. If you're an inventor or if you're designing things, you really can't do better than looking at the way nature takes care of the similar challenges and adapting your design to that. So we have a pretty interesting cosmic homeowner. Allan, I am now working on a mid-century modern home. And I know some of our listeners are big fans of those mid-century modern homes, and they're pretty interesting, but they also, I don't know, man.
How should we phrase that? Unique challenges.
Yeah. They're definitely. I would say though, in terms of home design, there is something definitely distinct. The 50s, there was a mindset at that point, about what the future was going to be, and they weren't always right.
Would you say it has a face only a mother can love?
No, I mean well, sometimes, Max, but they're cool houses, but they also some of the gadgets and some of the gimmicks they came up with they didn't age well. Let's just say that. And this one anyway, it snowballed into this big thing. And if time permits, Allan, I didn't warn you about this because I thought this would be something to throw at you blind, but there are theories about how the pyramids. I came across a new theory about how the pyramids were built that I think is very compelling. It's a very plausible way of how they could have been built. Maybe they weren't built this way. However, there are lessons to be learned. All about sacrificial staging. Let's just call it that. And if we get time, because I know there's other historic, I know there's other constructions in the past that have actually used this technique, and so maybe we'll talk about it, maybe not. And as we said, we would love to hear from you at 901-683-0989. But before we get to any of these topics, let's get to our must-have item of the week, which was this was a lifesaver this week, Al. I went and bought a new one because my other one was pretty worn out. But I guess let people know and I did post it on the Facebook page. So
you are holding up a full face double breather respirator.
Yeah, I'm sure people have seen it. It's like, there's one thing I would say. So I was dealing with mold this week. And really old water damage, and like I said, a 50s house. So I don't know if there's asbestos in there, whatever. So I didn't want to cheap out on just some dust mask or something. So this thing's great. I like the removable filters. You can change out the filters when you need it or something. But what's great about this is you don't wear glasses, but I do. And if you get the wrong mask, your glasses just fog up the whole time. This one is great.
I used one of those this week myself, but it was for grinding cayenne pepper.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That would aerate and everything.
My gosh.
That would be brutal.
You talk about macing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime you're working with any type of fine dust, and I'm going from the kitchen, and I'm starting at flour and spices, and I am going all the way through, running a saw, a router, anything that can create a fine dust, at least a minimum of a dust mass, is really pretty crucial. And I'm going to throw in another kind of weird one, and it would take a lot of it, but it does happen. If you're doing a lot of wall sanding, you don't want to breathe too much plaster dust.
I don't want to breathe any of it.
Yeah, you don't want to breathe any, but that stuff does get in your lungs and does cause problems. So you want to keep your lungs nice and protected. But any form of fine dust, anything. So, I know you're thinking, it's just the dining room table. And especially since you're working in a mid-century modern.
Yeah.
You don't know what they put on that table.
Oh, I'm so much more conscious of air quality in these. Yeah. And then especially when we talk about microplastics and things like that.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
What sells me is the idea that, and you know what I'm talking about. If you're on a construction site, or even sometimes, I hate to say it, if you're in your own home and maybe you move through a room and the sunlight's coming in through the room and you're seeing, I'm like, wow, where did all these dust particulates? What's all these little floaty things? And that stuff's, you're breathing it in, man. And it's like, I remember being a younger person on a construction site. There was this sort of macho attitude on a lot of contractors. Like they're sawing, they're breathing in sawdust, they're
Yeah.
coughing. Then they're going out and smoking cigarette. And I'm like, no, man, I'm sorry, man.
I'm going to skip all that.
Yeah. You got to be careful about what you breathe in, just like what you eat and what you drink. So air quality, but
a good dust mask, a good respirator, and especially if you start talking like an N95. There are different, just so everybody knows, different respirators have different purposes and ratings.
Oh, that's good to know, yeah.
Because the respirator that is for sale in the paint department, while it will stop dust and all that, it is also designed to handle paint fumes.
Right. Yeah, if you're spraying, especially, if you're in a big
so it's got
project.
a charcoal filter in it. It's got the regular HEPA filter. But, it is quite a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
But it handles a much heavier load than the one down by the wall plaster section, because it's really designed to catch heavier dust.
Yeah. And this was like $35, and you can use it for anything. If you're out raking the leaves, if you're out doing whatever.
Absolutely.
If you have allergies. So it is a must-have for any home. So, but clean it when you're done. They get sweaty.
They need some care.
Okay. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about aging in place.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shield will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Is that guy why you guys couldn't get to the Agri Center?
I guess so. We got deflected over there. Yeah. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989.
And it's important to note that we already have 2 texters.
Oh, okay, good. We'll get to them in just a second. We do want to say today is this is National Entrepreneur Week, and we're all about it. Allan, you and I are entrepreneurs. I've been self-employed more or less my whole life, which I prefer. I don't like working for other people. I mean, whatever. I mean, I can work with people.
I'd be curious to ask the panel, maybe you guys included too, what are some of the funnest, also biggest failures in terms of business ventures and everything that you all have had?
Oh, I got both, Max. So
I guess it's pretty low-hanging fruit for any parent to say, "Oh, my kid's lemonade stand."
No. Well, we actually, that's not the worst thing to touch on, actually. So, because business models are important to understand. And if you have, you may have skills, but you got to have the correct business model to make it successful.
Yeah, for instance, I would not be opening a newspaper right now.
Right.
Just pointing out.
Dunder Mifflin. And so, exactly.
The Zeppelin Corporation probably isn't doing real well at this point. Or horse buggies.
But that's not a bad idea, Max. I think we should do that. And then also today is National Ferris Wheel Day. So in a minute, we're going to talk about aging in place. But, Max, you said we've got text, so they always go to the front of the line.
Well, first off, we have Denise. More so comments than anything. She said, I've always been interested in mid-century modern and split-level homes.
Oh, really? Well, Allan can speak to both of those.
Yes, I can.
Well, Denise, we're going to talk a lot about mid-century modern homes today, so stand by.
And then next we have Alex saying, this is regarding your respirator thingy. Whatever chemicals are used in the treatment/curing of wood you're cutting will piggyback on the fine dust particles, and that's a perfect way to speed run lung cancer.
Oh, yeah. Amen. Yep. Amen, Alex. You got that right. So, yeah, I'm just very aware of that stuff now.
Yes.
I mean, don't try to play it cool and don't cheap out. The difference between a good respirator and is like $15. So, All right, good.
Yes.
That's good stuff. Anybody else, Max?
Not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the stuff that's on the table. We would love to hear from you. And fear not, we ran into some technical issues this morning. Good thing we're not that far from the Agri Center, Allan. We had to scramble.
We got here just in time
to hustle over. So we were going to broadcast from the Agri Center, but Allan's going to be there more or less the whole weekend. He's hunkered in. So when you walk up to the booth, You'll see Allan Spices. You'll see all the Tool Talk radio swag. It's easy to spot our booth because it's got two big signs there.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it's
we're
in the
right there in
west
the-
wing of the Agri Center. So.
Right in the dead center of B section.
Okay. Well, Allan, you told me a topic of conversation you've been having this weekend is aging in place, which it's interesting. I didn't think of the whole. It's all ages.
Well,
Could be your toddler aging out of toddlerhood, and whatever.
aging in place is a hot topic right now, especially with to quote unquote the baby boomers are aging out. So they have their physical needs are changing, and a lot of them would like to remain at home as long as possible.
Right.
And but however, several of the conversations I had yesterday, for instance, talking to the hot water guy, there are different needs at different stages of your life. Because for them, aging in place meant, okay, you just bought this house, you just had a couple of small children. These are your needs. You really need a good washer and dryer.
Right.
You need to be able to fold clothes. You need to, So these are the really centric, important things at this stage of your life.
Right.
But as this stage ages out, and now the kids are folding their own clothes and that kind of stuff, maybe the kitchen is far more important because now we're cooking bigger meals. We're in the there are more people in the kitchen.
Right.
And then 5 years after that, you might need to go from that 50-gallon hot water tank to that 100 because now you got 3 late teenagers bathing 3 times a day.
And all their friends coming over after soccer and everything else.
So
Yeah.
I found that totally fascinating that we have discussed many, many times every 5 to 7 years, you're in a different stage of life. And going to a home show is a great place to walk around and go, as soon as we get these kids out of the house, the hot tub's going on the deck.
Oh, yeah. It is a good place to get ideas, man. So.
And, it's a great place to walk around and a great place to actually kind of get an aging budget.
Well, yeah.
Because
some of this stuff you may not be getting for 5 years.
yeah,
but you want to plan ahead.
Not a bad idea to see what's available. And of course, one of the cutest sections over there is the rough wood section of the home show.
Yeah.
And two of the biggest features they have over there are 2 absolutely stunningly incredible chicken coops.
Are you talking about? Okay, I know what you're
I mean, these things are these are at least 4-star. I mean, if you were a chicken, you are living well in this baby.
Yeah.
But the guy was pointing out, he goes, hey, a lot of municipalities have relaxed the rules about having quote unquote barnyard creatures. Because everybody has a weird pet these days.
Right.
They got a weasel or a potbelly pig or a rabbit or something. And a lot of people like doing their own eggs.
Yeah.
So that is one of the, and it seems kind of silly to go to the home show and 2 of the biggest features are a couple of high-end chicken coops.
Right. Yeah.
But that is a possible stage that you may go through as you move up in your home or possibly move up in homes. So stuff like that, if you're into it, go to the home show, get an idea, get a budget idea. So you'll kind of know what you need to save for and when you think you want to pull that trigger.
Right. Now, but the aging in place thing's interesting too because there's a lot of considerations with okay, if you do I'm thinking of like these walk-in bathtubs and stuff.
Exactly.
But you also have to think of resale value for your home. Like maybe somebody doesn't want that or something. But it seems like there's just more of a modular approach. It's like, okay, yeah, I want this walk-in bathtub, but when I sell the house, it's easy to remove this or something. I don't know.
Well, and there's possibly even a contractor attached to it that says, hey, if, this particular style bathroom doesn't meet your needs, before you move in, have contractor X, do a model plan swap out.
Yeah.
So Model A may not work for you, but Model C might be exactly what you've always dreamed about having.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to go around and look at these items and talk with the contractors, because it's also gardening, it's also your landscaping, it's also of driveways, of gutters, wall protection, underneath the house, on top of the house. So there's something there to look at for each stage. Now, specifically for, we're going to say, coming soon to an Allan near you is going to be, do I want stairs anymore? Am I done with them? If I'm done with stairs, I have a couple of issues where stairs are not going to be my friends. So, what are my options? Am I going to be looking to move? Maybe. Of age in place, what could I do? Oh, well, there's a stair lift. You just have a seat and that little bad boy will drop you off where you want. Or you could even go so far as a home elevator.
I was wondering if you're going to, the elevators, or buy a one-story house or something.
But these are the options that you begin looking at and go, a lot depends on the age of your home. And I'll pick on a friend of mine that has a 120-year-old home that's been renovated about once every 30 or 40 years. And I'm not going to say renovated necessarily well on occasion, because, in the 50s, like you said, 50s and 60s, we had an idea what we thought the future was going to be. And they kind of missed.
Yeah.
Because we didn't go those directions.
Right.
And who would have predicted, and I'll go back to the 80s and 90s, when televisions were big glass tubes that weighed, even a small TV weighed 20 pounds.
Right.
Who would have predicted back then that goodness gracious, what, an 80-inch television weighs about 20 pounds and hangs on the wall?
Yeah, no kidding. So, well, there's other things too, and there's some things that go when it comes to aging in place that are part of home design that we'll touch on that as well. So, we're gonna take a quick break and then we'll be right back.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
You gotta build fast. Cement drying. All right, let's see. English side ruined. Must use French instructions. Le grill. What the hell is that? God.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
Have you ever had that problem with Le Grill, Allan?
Gosh, he can read French, so here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan's Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989, and also head on over to Facebook and go to @ToolTalkRadio and like the page and follow the page and check out all the posts we made over there. So, Allan, you were talking about aging in place. I just had a couple thoughts about it because one of the things for my wife and I, because we really like our house, we can't imagine that we're going to ever move. We'll probably, we whatever. We got equity. We like the neighborhood, so we think about that too. But for us, what that's meant over the last 5 or 6 years is just getting rid of stuff. We're like, we don't want our kids to be having to deal with our clutter and our mess and whatever. So that way, when the time comes, it's like it's organized. There's not a lot of stuff. But one thing I wanted to say is sometimes with home design, a good home design takes all the stuff into consideration. Like for I was on a job once where they hired me to widen their doorways. You know what I mean? They had a house, I don't know if it was built in the 50s or something, because their mother was coming to live there and she had a wheelchair. And you had to move the island and you had to do all this stuff. Well, it's like if you incorporate that into the design early with the idea that this house should be able to accommodate everybody, or, just stuff like that, I think is important. So,
well, the latest job I just did it was a lot of extra work, but there wasn't a pre-existing bathroom here. So you got to do all the work anyway.
Right.
We built a roll-in shower.
There you go. Yeah.
So no ridge, no doors, just
it's floor level.
big grotto. Now, the nice thing is,
with a drain just right there.
yeah, right there, big drain right in the center. But and you got a waterfall, water shower head above you with a spray arm and all the attachments and all that good stuff. The fun part is you don't have to be in a wheelchair to enjoy this. You just actually have, being somewhat of a larger guy, you actually got plenty of room in here. So it's a great age in place type idea, but until you need that,
right,
just enjoy it. It's got the little extra, it's just that little extra elbow room that makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, it's kind of a universal thing.
I got an important question for you. When it comes to installing these quote-unquote aging in place accoutrements, what are the common failure points for these? Because we know that these walk-in showers and baths are going to have failure points because you're opening up a solid structure, and I'm thinking about water leaking out. So what are some of the common failure points for such structures as these?
You said the number one failure point is water. Of somebody improperly installs a device, usually a handrail. AKA of where you put a handrail is drastically important. And this is not just for an older person. This is for anybody. If you're working around and you've got a shower going, you are standing on a slick surface, no matter what the surface is, unless it's pebbled. But it's still water and it's still soap. And having a handrail that you can hold on to is wonderful no matter how old you are.
Right.
But it does need to be installed into the wall, into the tile correctly, or you do run the risk of making a penetration and letting water get back behind there.
Yeah.
The other problem you're going to run into with these type of installs is what wall was back there.
Right.
Because you get, all right, my friend's got a 120-year-old house. Guess what? You're going to be dealing with plaster and slapboard.
Yeah.
You come forward in time, and I'm not saying anything bad about who built your bathroom. I'm just saying they did the best job they could with the materials they had available.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of bathrooms out there that are installed over sheetrock.
That kind of brings me up an interesting point. How far back have we talked about have we built with aging in place in mind? Because I think of a lot of structures back then as kind of utilitarian. Like it's like, all right, we're just kind of we're not necessarily building with like just having like a ramp and everything. Like it just seems like we built with different intentions now because we think a little differently. It just feels like we build differently too.
You're exactly correct.
Well, it's where the mother-in-law wing comes from. So, but Max, one of the things I would say too, because you guys always like to, use the term legacy thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for example, one of the things I think is as a contractor, it's important to throw options at your customer and get them to think differently. For example, Allan, I spent some time installing pull-out shelving, like the full glide-out shelving that you have for your kitchens and bathrooms and things. Well, a lot of those were for people that were aging in place because it's like, okay, I can't get to all that stuff in the back of the pantry. I can't get my pots and pans out from underneath because I can't bend over anymore to do whatever. But what I would run into a lot is you had to get people thinking differently. They're like, well, all my pans are way under here, and so I need this type of shelving. And I'm like, well, that type of shelving isn't going to fit here. However, why do your pans have to be here? Why can't they be in this cabinet over here and this other stuff over here? And you just get them to rethink the organization of their kitchen, and suddenly it's working great. And so it's really just breaking through that legacy thinking. And I think it's true with a lot of things that you might add to the house. You got to just think dynamically,
Well, that's where you also get into counter covers, the amount of wall sockets you have for kitchen gadgetry, of a lot of little things that you really have to kind of start thinking about because do you really want to bend over and do that lifting anymore?
Right.
No, not really. Do you want the trash can? When you had kids and everything, you might have had a big old trash can sitting out in the middle of the kitchen because they made a lot of trash.
Yeah, you're emptying it every day.
Well, now there's not so many people in the house. Maybe it's time to get a recessed trash can that nobody can see.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of little choices you get to make, and a lot of them I would like to just point out at the home show of maybe you didn't know that was even an option.
There you go. Yeah.
That's the great part. Walk around and look at this stuff, and you didn't even know that, oh, by the way, this will hang on the wall. Well, I didn't know that would hang on the wall. Well,
yeah.
It can if you do this. Like I said, 30 years ago, we couldn't picture a television hanging on the wall. Now, we can't picture a TV being a giant piece of wood in the middle of the room.
Right.
So things have changed so dramatically technology-wise, and smart home technology hasn't changed. It's grown. But, your home is now pretty good. I just installed a refrigerator a couple of weeks ago, Joe, and suddenly I'm sitting there, I'm working on the fridge, and my phone buzzed.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Yep.
And it was the refrigerator wanting the Wi-Fi password.
Right.
And I was kind of like,
the smart
okay,
fridge.
because I had the Bluetooth on my phone on, but as the refrigerator booted itself up, it's one of those with the cameras inside, so you can, hey, I'm going shopping. Let me just log into the fridge. We need some broccoli. We need some eggs. We need some butter.
Yeah, if you're a forgetful person, I'm not opposed to the whole camera in the refrigerator thing, but
that wasn't a thing 20 years ago.
But I don't want my refrigerator getting hacked either.
Although I'm still of the opinion that if we have too many conveniences, we run the risk of becoming Wall-E.
Yeah, well, forget how to remember things.
Well, but being able to take such advantage of these technologies of, do you need a hot water tank or do you need a tankless hot water?
Yeah.
Well, they have really different applications. They're both designed to get you hot water. They just do it very differently.
Right.
Does this house need one or the other, or is one or the other even possible based on the structure of your house? What would it cost to have an electrician come in and make these type changes?
Yeah.
So there's so much to look at here, and that's what's fun about walking around these things.
Well, the other thing that's cool about the home show these days is, for one thing, it does. Well, okay, here's the other thing. You're meeting maybe the owners of the company. You're meeting people that are actually proud and excited about the business that they offer. So that alone is useful. That's cool.
Yeah.
And it's with low pressure because you're just asking questions, and they're not in your home giving you a hard sell or anything. But also, you remember the day, Allan, when you would go to a home show in the past, you'd come home and you got a whole bag full of flyers and brochures and everything.
Oh, yeah.
These days, it's all, you can basically look it up, or they can show you a digital version of something or whatever. So you're not having to, take home a lot of printed material too. So it's handy, and they can even do mock-ups and things like that right there on the spot. It's pretty neat.
And again, another technology that you couldn't have imagined 30 years ago was somebody looks at you and goes, oh, okay, what kind of house you got? You got a colonial? Tap, tap, tap on the computer. All right, This is a basic colonial. Does that look similar to your house?
Yeah.
And you look at it and go, oh my goodness, that is my house.
Right.
And they go, well,
Let's
what would
change
happen
this.
if we move this furniture around?
Yeah. Pretty cool,
They
man.
do it right there on the screen.
Yeah, it's cool. Head over to the home show of the Mid-South at the Agri Center. And among other things, not only a great home renovation experience, you also get to meet Allan and buy some of Allan's spices. So, all right, well, we're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to share my adventure with a mid-century modern home.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Would you please come help me tamp this down? It's a job that requires 2 men.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989, especially if you're an entrepreneur or you want to celebrate a entrepreneur, because this is National Entrepreneur Week. And we're all about celebrating. You know, you're going to meet a lot of them at the home show of the Mid-South as well. So, but also it's National Ferris Wheel Day, which is, you talk about at the time a revolutionary construction, Alan. I mean, that's we did a deep dive on the Ferris wheel before. It's a really, if you want to study an interesting history, that is one I would definitely go down the rabbit hole, because then it also gives you an opportunity to learn all about the Chicago World's Fair of 1893, which, you know, we're big fans of that. So, but okay, well, you guys, we're gonna this is nuts, man. Okay, so Alan, I'm working on a mid-century modern home in Midtown. What's interesting is it's related. You know, my customer Becky. It's her mother's home. Okay. Well, she's not aging in place here. She moved in with her sister in Jackson. So basically, this house has been empty. Like, she's not living there. Okay. Which, you know, that there's problems when somebody isn't living in the home, and it's time to get these problems fixed. Well, nobody ever questioned really why you would walk in the kitchen floor and it felt like you were walking on a trampoline. Or that odd musty smell coming up. And I visited over there because they said they were going over this list of things they wanted me to fix. And I'm like, what's the deal with this floor? And they're like, yeah, the floor is kind of soft. And I'm like, yeah, this floor is the first thing we're fixing here. So, I mean, it was pretty obvious, Alan. It's a good stretch. I'd say this kitchen's 25 feet across, and more than half the floor was like, you walk on it, it had a cork flooring top to it. Right. But it was soft. It was obviously water damage. So, you know. Yeah. It was bad.
Where was the source of the water?
Well, that's the thing. So on one side of the kitchen, there was a refrigerator with an ice maker. But when I say refrigerator, it's one of those beasts that are built in. They weigh a ton or whatever. Then there's the sink. So I'm like, okay, obviously that's probably where it's leaking. And it's old plumbing. So I took the sink apart. I took all the stuff out of under the sink, and luckily there was an access, like the bottom part of the sink, I could remove it. And I'm like, wow, this floor underneath looks like it's in really good shape. So I don't see any rotting. I don't see whatever. There wasn't anything by the dishwasher. The long and short of it was, I couldn't figure out where this leak was coming from. I pulled the fridge out. The floor underneath there was great. Well, I started looking around. Sometimes you have to just, kind of like what you do when you're just sitting there and you have to study everything. Oh, yeah. You got to take that minute to... Yeah. And then I noticed something, Alan. On the north side of the house, there was, and it was an exterior wall, there was a little square, like 1 foot by 1 foot trap door right on the side of the house. Okay. I'm like, what is this? This is interesting. I opened it, and I found these old milk bottles in there. Boom. So, folks, if you remember, back in the day, people used to get milk delivered to their house. Milk, cheese, butter, everything was dropped off. And if you had a really swanky house, you had a pass-through between you and the milk delivery. So on the outside, there was one door. The milkman stuck it in there. And on the inside, it was the other door. And I was like, and then I popped the baseboard off, and there it was. The whole mystery was revealed. This milk door, Alan, was leaking like a sieve. And plus, you know how when we get a lot of really rough weather out of the north. Well, the north side of the house was just wide open. So if you got wind and rain for hours at a time, this thing, I found like 3 gaps where the water could have come in, and I found these holes at the bottom, and there was gaps in the. Plus, it had to have been really drafty. So I took it apart, and I took all the stuff apart, and sure enough, that's where the water's coming from. But we're talking, it had to be decades of water damage in there. So that's why I brought the respirator in, because that's what I was doing this week. It probably started leaking sometime in the 80s or 90s after it stopped getting deliveries. Yeah. And now it was just closed. Well, here's my question. There were milk bottles in there. I said empty milk bottles. I'll post some pictures of them, folks. These are cool bottles. Oh, yeah. One had the cap still on there, and I was like, so they've been sitting in there for decades. Nobody even thought to open that door. But it was a cool collectible, too, but it was just a badly designed door because it was drafty. It flapped open. It was leaking. It probably made it 50 years. I guess. I don't know, man.
Well, I mean, all right, it always comes as a shock to me when somebody goes, "Hey, Allan, you know the year 2000 was 26 years ago."
Oh, I know.
And
Yep.
it's kind of like, so, they quit delivering milk in the late 80s, maybe early 90s.
Did they? I thought it ended in like the 70s or something.
It actually pretty much wrapped up about 77.
Okay.
But there were still one or two boutiques that kept it going. So that means that iron box probably did great for the first 20 or 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with no maintenance and nobody looking at it, nobody even giving it a second thought, it sat there for 40 years.
Yeah.
Could have been leaking that whole time.
It was leak. I'm sure it was, because I mean when I
Wow.
pulled it up there. But here's the thing. So what's interesting about these houses, I sort of hate them and I love them because they're unique. Mid-century modern homes are unique, and it seems like they have these gadgety, like they were really into gadgets. Like in the bathroom, there's this spin-out soap dish.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you just have a soap dish? This one, you push it and it spins out. But now, do you want wet soap sitting in a wall where it can't air out? Or
Sure, the roaches love it.
yeah, I don't know. There's things that are cool, but I don't know.
It was
It was very gadgety.
You gotta take the gadget with a sense of humor or maybe a renewed sense of installation.
Yeah,
You might want to uninstall it, encapsulate the area it's going to be in, and then reinstall it
right.
so that it's not getting outside air or it's not getting access to the attic or something like that.
My thinking is maybe these things were kind of gadgeties because these guys are coming home from World War II and everything. They probably want something a little bit kind of to be excited about when they're coming back after all that fighting.
Well, don't forget, I mean, the 50s, we were starting to talk about space and we're starting to talk about the future. And you look at car design, they had that spaceship kind of a rocket ship design on the tail fins of the car. And so it's interesting, though. I mean, and it's very charming in some cases. So I left the door. I mean, I fixed it. So basically what I did, Allan, is I sealed up the door in every possible way on the outside, and I even added a little handle or something. But on the inside, it's fully insulated. It's not going to leak anymore. But I didn't want to remove the charm of this item because it's just too cool having a little a trap door on the side of your house. So
there are a lot of homes, especially in the Midtown area of Memphis, that still have a cold chute.
Yeah.
That still have milk bottle deliveries there's at least 2 apartment buildings in Memphis that I know of that still have the milk bottle delivery chutes next to the doors.
Right.
Where, Bob's Milk Company came out every Monday morning and all 100 residents, everybody got a new bottle of milk.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's welcome to mid-century.
And they have things like you're looking in the kitchen, and it's like there was a lot of I don't know, just the way the curves were. She has this built-in bench seating thing that it's kind of a horseshoe shape, and I'm like, I can't get rid of it. This is cool. I mean, it's like I'm trying to save the charm of the house, but it's interesting with water leaks that you got to really think dynamically because my first inclination is to go to the plumbing. The plumbing was doing fine. That wasn't the problem. But when it comes to water leaks, you got to really be kind of a Sherlock Holmes and think of the whole picture.
It is scary how far water can actually travel once it gets in.
Yeah. Well, I got a few more things to tell you about that, and then we're going to get to Allan's Week. We have a Cosmic Homer. We have a lot to discuss in the second hour of Tool Talk Radio, so stay tuned.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989. And just a reminder, I know we talked about it last week that we were going to be over at the home show. We ran into technical issues this morning, so we just scrambled back to the studio to do the show this morning. However, once it's over, I know, Alan, you're heading straight over there.
Oh,
again.
yes.
And you got the booth set up. So the Tool Talk Radio booth is over in the west side of the Agri Center. You'll find us. It's very easy to see.
Oh, yeah. We got
big
a great
signs,
corner. Yeah.
Great corner. Alan's got his spices set up. So this is a good time to do a little shopping. And you get to sample them. Hey, Alan, you put your money where your mouth is.
Literally.
I mean, literally, yeah. So how does that sampling work, though? Because, I mean, it's not like you're guzzling.
No,
So how does that work?
no. You got a little bit of, you get you a toothpick and a little bit of cheese.
Okay.
And go try the spice you'd like to try.
So take a dip and then.
Yeah, it just kind of get you a little seasoning on the cheese and pop it in your mouth and see what you think.
Okay, perfect. And you got quite a bit because I saw you got cases of that stuff.
Oh,
and,
yeah. There's plenty to go around.
Yeah, and my go-to lately has been the steak seasoning. I like the texture of it too. I don't know. It's kind of hearty. I don't know if that's a word for spice or not.
It is. It's a good stick to your ribs kind of flavor. I got a new ranch and a new buffalo ranch today.
Right. Okay. So yeah, check it out. And if you can't wait, well, actually, you can order online at allanspices.com, ALLANS, and then go over to the Painted Tree whenever you're not.
Got a nice booth over there.
Okay, cool. So yeah, and then I'm heading there later this afternoon. So, but yeah, check it out. It's a great event. I mean, we do it every year. We have fun, and it really is. I mean, for a very nominal fee. Get your ticket and go head in there, and it's a fun afternoon. I have to say, I noticed, too, that they've upped their game with the food.
Oh, yes.
They have a whole kitchen over there at the Agri Center. Did you notice that?
Oh, yes. They got some wonderful stuff going on.
They converted one area, and now it's like, I go like, oh, okay, because I looked at the menu, and I'm like, oh, I could actually eat lunch here now.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, well, hey, Alan, before the break, we were talking about this mid-century modern home that I'm working on, and I just posted pictures, folks, if you want to check it out. I was over at go to Facebook and go to @ToolTalkRadio, and you'll see the pictures. It's a cool little thing. It was basically this milk dairy delivery door, and it's a cool little door. But the thing is, it didn't leak all the time. It had to be the right combination of wind and rain, but we get plenty of wind and rain, so and the thing is, Alan, the floor underneath was this old linoleum, which does not breathe. And so basically once the water came in, it had nowhere to go, and it was trapped, and it was pretty rotted underneath. But what I was curious about is, okay, so it's a slab floor, and it's covered with a layer of tar, and basically what it is there's 2x4s laid on their side. Well, actually, they're just laying flat, and they're glued to the floor with this tar. But, Alan, the plywood was destroyed. It was, like, completely rotted. But the 2x4s weren't rotted at all. What's up with that? Like, they were in great shape. I mean, they looked pretty good.
Well, I think what you had a case there was of water seepage along the line of least resistance. So what will happen is you'll get layered things. So, like, you've got your concrete, or you got your ceiling substance at the bottom. You've got maybe like railing or 2x4s or 2x6s, whatever above that. Mm-hmm. And then they go in with the subfloor and the floor, and then usually whatever the coating is, So if you've got a wax, coating that goes on top of it. But what happens with like linoleum, you basically have a plastic layer with a gap.
Yeah.
And I know we put down glue and all that, but, the glue is not 100% coverage. There's gaps and spaces. So now water comes in, hits that spot, and goes right underneath it.
Yeah.
And now it travels at that level. And, of course, the plywood absorbs it. And the linoleum doesn't let it breathe.
Yeah.
No, so kind of there you go. Of now you're trapping moisture in that particular layer. So what's really weird when we come in is the layer on the bottom, the one you think should be wet and should be rotten, is perfectly dry. And the layer above
it was damp, but it wasn't. I mean, I think it also has to do with the old growth wood that they probably used for the 2x4s.
Much tighter,
it was
much
denser.
tighter. Yeah.
Yeah. It was all that because, the plywood's going to it can't handle water. It's not meant to.
It's a layer. It's a sponge.
But it's interesting. But I wanted to say something because Denise was talking about she said she's fascinated. Here's what I'll say about this. In the 50s, it sounded like it seemed like designers were more they were more open to, like, I don't know, experimental floor plans.
Oh, yeah.
Who said you can't have a giant family room over here? And I don't know. Floor plans sometimes are different than what you might expect when you walk in. And a lot of they had A-frame construction sometimes, so you could have bigger rooms or maybe even really wide open rooms. So,
well, we were also just now getting to a point in history where the average person having a house built could customize it.
What do you mean? Like you were part of the design process?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like when you buy into a subdivision. You have a builder, and they've purchased this huge piece of land, and they've picked 3 or 4 floor plans.
Right.
And these are the houses we're going to build. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, it's a lot quicker, it's a lot easier and cheaper because you now know each house needs 2,000 2x4s.
Right.
And it needs, all right, well, when we hit the 50s and we began hitting cars, because you got to remember, all this is happening at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting mobile. We're getting freeways. We're getting
everybody didn't have a car then.
Yeah.
But now the new generation coming into the 50s, everybody had to have a car.
Yeah.
And now you had phones, and you had, in a lot of parts of the country, you really hadn't considered inside plumbing yet.
Really?
So I mean, when we hit that World War II barrier and then jump forward, there's a huge jump in technology in less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Because now there's radio, and this weird little thing in the 50s going into the 60s showed up, and that was the television.
Right.
So what happened to the home was really kind of weird because it wasn't a farmhouse anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't a business house. It wasn't an executive's house. Now, there were so many options, and a lot of people wanted something new.
Well, speaking of new, I was going to say another distinct feature of this house. It's a cool house. I mean, I got a lot of work I'm going to have to do on it, but the thing is, okay, there was, one of the things you'll notice in some of the mid-century modern homes, in parts of the home, bigger windows.
Oh, yeah.
Floor to ceiling window, or sometimes like in the back, there's these panoramic windows, which they're cool. But also, Allan, there's some I-beams being used here, like right on the outside. So I don't know that we were using I-beams on houses before this, were we? I mean, because if you have an I-beam, for one thing, if you're using certain I-beams for framing, it gives you an opportunity to have a much more open floor plan because you don't need load-bearing walls.
Exactly.
And things like that. So I'm curious if I were to really start dismantling this place, what I'm going to find in there. But, I mean, there's I-beams that I've already come across here, so... sounds like a new way of doing things. So.
Well, doing an 80s house not too long ago, there was a huge I-beam right down the dead center of the property.
Yeah.
And it really did change how you could do the floor plans.
Right. Yep.
So there's just so much new stuff. And the other thing you got to remember also is because of World War II and so many advances in architecture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you hate to say it, but, an event like our favorite World's Fair back in the 1890s, so many people had so many great ideas, so many things came out of it we're still using today.
Right.
There are food brands that are still selling today.
Yeah.
There are ideas that showed up we're still using today. Of coming back into the 40s, going right into the 50s, so many different ideas came from all over the world because we just been there. And
well, that's a good point. You had all these soldiers and you had all these people that are coming back into the workforce that are suddenly, they've been to Japan. They've been to Europe. They've been all over Germany. Yeah, they've been to Africa.
They've been everywhere.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
The engineering departments in these militaries, these are now coming back here to go to work.
Right.
We could build a bridge in 2 days that could get a tank from this side to that side. Well, now I'm building homes.
That's a really interesting point. Yeah, this was right when these homes were being conceived, man.
And General Eisenhower comes back, gets elected president, and he really goes crazy and says, "Okay, we just got done being all over Europe, and there's not a decent road to be found. I'm building the Eisenhower Project."
Boom.
And now we have interstates.
Yeah. Well, the good news is I'm going to be at this job for a while, so I'll be posting pictures and giving updates.
Mm-hmm.
But mid-century modern is definitely a unique period in home building. So, all right. Speaking of unique, when we come back, we're going to find out what Allan did this week.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Ow! Those gears down there really hurt.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989. And I would definitely go over to Facebook and go to @Tool Talk Radio and check out the posts we've made there. The little I posted the before and after of the dairy delivery door and the damage that it caused. But it is a cool little feature of the home. So, all right, well, you guys, let's shift gears.
Oh, the humanity.
We're going to find out what Allan did this week. Honestly, you've got a little bit of a backlog, too, you could probably tap into. Although I have to believe part of what you did this week was get ready for the home show.
That was indeed part of it. But wrapping up this project I've been on for quite some time. It's kind of like getting ready for having your mother-in-law come visit or anybody else because, man, you're going to do a lot of cleaning. It's just...
oh, yeah.
Wow.
Once you're at the final stage of the project.
we're going back through, and you're looking for every little nook and cranny and every little screw hole that you missed, and of finding that weird handprint. You have no idea how you got it there.
Right.
That one's the best one because one's like 8 feet up on the wall. So we're just going through. We're getting everything done, getting it clean. And then it came time to do the front walkway.
Okay.
Oh.
What'd you have to do there?
My goodness. Well, there wasn't one.
Oh. All right, stage one. Let's build one.
Yeah. Stage one was, here we go. And what do we want to do? And how do we want to do this? And we opted for the 24-inch pavers.
24. Okay, those, somebody might say,
boy.
Well, that's easy because they're so big that you just set them down.
They're so big. Yeah,
that's
let me
the
tell you.
opposite problem. Yeah, bigger tile does not make it easier. Yeah.
They are 100 pounds a piece.
Are they?
Yeah.
And they can still split, too.
Oh, yeah. They're a couple of hundred. Yeah. Well, and that's the other part. They're huge and they're really thick, but they're delicate.
Yeah.
Now, once you get them in place, they'll be there forever. But, yeah, you drop one off the end of the truck, and it is going to go kapow.
So huge, thick, and delicate. That definitely is a metaphor for your mother-in-law.
Yeah,
well, that's not.
Okay. So,
thanks, Max. Make sure you got to insult everybody.
Yeah. On Valentine's Day. Way to go there, bud.
Yeah.
We can tell you're single. And that you're going to remain so for a while.
Right.
So here we go. We're getting this in. And the biggest part was the staging of this.
Exactly.
And here's what I mean. Here's what I mean.
I know, yeah.
All right. You have policy and you have procedure. Get your measuring tape out and start measuring.
Yeah.
And then start laying it out. Use little sticks or rocks or whatever you got to do and get this baby literally mapped out to the inch. Exactly what you want.
Is this a flat surface? Is this reasonably flat?
More or less. But
okay.
There was one really iffy corner.
No, I mean, you're not going up any kind of slope or anything.
We weren't climbing a hill here.
Okay.
No, but it was mostly just across the front yard.
Okay.
So, here we go. So we're laying this baby out.
This does not sound easy to me. It's a lot of digging. It's a lot of
it's
gravel.
a lot of digging. It's a lot of gravel. And this is why the policy part of the program is so important. Talk it through, map it out, absolutely stake it out. Make sure that this is exactly what you want, because when you turn off policy, you have now turned on procedure.
Yeah.
We're
doing this.
No more talking, no more debating, no more. And, happily for me, we had a graphic artist on site, and we were trying to decide between the gentle sweeping in or a nice straight row.
Yeah. I ain't sweeping in, man.
And
that sounds like a pain.
It was, both were going to be about the same size pane. It was just a matter of how do we lay it out right here. And happily, we got our graphic artist and design person involved, and she walked around for a few minutes, and then she considered. Then she walked around a few more minutes, and you waited, and you waited, and then she went, okay, straight through here. It's going to be this. Give me that far off the house. We're done.
Okay, so she did the...
and we just all went, yes, ma'am.
So she has the Frank Lloyd Wright design approach. She just contemplates it all, and then boom, this is what we're doing.
And when she had it in her head, this was ready to go.
I got questions, Alan. I'm sorry, but
bring them on.
Because here's the thing. I think pavers are cool. That's a cool... it's a cool alternative to pouring a bunch of concrete. But you're always the one that's talking about, okay, who's going to have to cut the grass after this? Who's going to have weed control? So are these things butted together, or are they separated? Or I'm thinking of the weed eating, and I'm thinking of the sinking and cracking and leveling and all.
Welcome exactly to the policy discussion.
Boom.
We actually made a list and went down every single one of those points.
Okay.
It's like, okay, or we're going to come down the stairs. We got a landing. Now, how far off the landing are we going to go? How wide is it going to be? And part of the big decision for the graphic artist was we threw in, remember, no matter where this walkway goes, it's got to be weeded and cut.
There you go.
So it is exactly 2 lawnmower widths from the front flower bed.
You pulled the mower out and measured. That's pretty good. Yeah.
No, we literally set a lawnmower right there and went, okay, you got to be able to come down this. We got to be able to. And the great thing was it took an extra 30 minutes or more to just rehash all of it. And
it's good to round table. It's good to not just be one person, though. Having a group out there to give ideas is helpful.
The actual turn, you're going to come down the walkway, then you're going to turn, then you're going to go up onto the pad, you're going to go into the house, wound up moving from 4 pavers to 6.
Okay.
Because that was the only way to balance out the yard so that it was visually very appealing and didn't look like we crammed a walkway in it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you got to think of the cosmetic appeal.
So, I mean, we're standing out the street, we're measuring this, so the policy side of this has to be very open.
Right.
You got to throw, and I mean, seriously, throw 4 different radical ideas at it. Even though you may not do them, you may steal a little piece of it and go, yeah, we're not going to do that. However, I like where you said, because one of the biggest debates was how far apart do the pavers have to be?
Yeah.
And we went with 8 inches because
8 inches. Holy
we went with
smokes.
8 inches.
Wow.
But because we were doing 24-inch pavers, you don't step on the rocks.
No, I get it.
There's so much paver.
Yeah.
But we went with 8 inches of separation because we also had, 15 cubic feet of gravel sitting in the back of the truck.
That was going to be my question because, like when I was putting pavers in my front yard, so we used 12-inch,
Right.
and so they're side by side, but they form a solid walkway, because it was basically replacing a walkway that we more or less went over, and it looks cool. But man, I had to put the weed barrier.
Yep.
You roll that out because you don't want weeds growing in between them.
Right.
And then I put the gravel, but you got to level that stuff perfectly.
Yes, you do.
Because if one lip is high when you butt the next one to it, but giving yourself that 8-inch separation wasn't a bad idea because it's a lot more forgiving now.
Well,
then you're only leveling one paver at a time.
Well, basically. And the other thing is because the yards are not perfect, it was, do we want the pavers to be perfectly straight or do we want them to look straight? It's a very different animal.
The perception of being straight.
But it's what, a quarter of an inch, maybe half an inch difference?
So you're pulling a Parthenon on this.
We did.
Yeah.
But what was so great was the minute our graphic artist, thank you, Alexis, you get a shout out, looked at us and went, "Huh,
yeah, go."
It was nothing but, all right, that's it. Decisions have all been made. Policy is now closed.
Yeah.
Everybody, you get a hoe, you get a shovel. I'm going to go get the first paver. We're going to, and getting that first paver in took as long as the next 4 pavers.
Oh, yeah. Once you get on a roll. Yeah.
Because now once we got the trackway, once we got the runway going, that was pop, 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 pop. And then the rocks arrived.
It's
and
a
that
good look.
Became a whole new program.
Okay, we're going to hear a little bit more about the drama of these front lawn pavers when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
You have paid the price for your lack of vision.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Sounds like your graphic designer.
Yeah, exactly. and okay. She's hardcore about that stuff,
man. But I tell you what, it was so easy.
There you go. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989 if you're going to ride a Ferris wheel today, because today is National Ferris Wheel Day, or this whole week's going to be National Entrepreneur Week. So if you're an entrepreneur or if you want to, whatever. But also, Allan, I feel like it's our duty at this point in the show to do sort of a public service announcement and maybe just an emotional health update, which is basically because there's people right now that they just flipped on the radio. They're upset. They missed the first good chunk of the show, and they're like, "Wow, what did those guys talk about?" And it's gone forever, and I'll never find out what happened on Tool Talk Radio this morning. Well, there's hope, right?
There is indeed. All they got to do is pop over to tooltalkradio.com, and we are a internationally featured podcast.
That's how it works with technology.
Yeah, I tell you what, hello, Norway and Brazil. Guys, send us some stuff.
Right.
They can pop over, again, tooltalkradio.com. They can find us on Spotify, YouTube, or any place where you get your podcast from. Tune in, dial in. We honestly have years of content sitting out there for you. A great thing you can do, especially on YouTube, is just call up the playlist and just hit play.
Yeah.
And we make amazing background sound for getting stuff done. We're very motivational.
As a matter of fact, we're about 3 days away from 8 years of Tool Talk Radio, Allan. It wasn't always called Tool Talk Radio, but basically it's what it was. And that started in February of 2018. So time zips by, man. So, but before the break, I don't know. This didn't trigger me. This just really made me think. You were talking about these pavers. You basically made, am I correct? It's like a gravel pathway with 24-inch square pavers on top.
Yes, sir.
That's a cool look, man. I like that look, but that's not, you don't just go, oh, we're going to drop these pavers. There's so much thought that goes in, because if they're not level, or if they're rocking or something, for one thing, they could crack when somebody walks on them, or they're just going to shift when there's just a lot of thought, and they have to look nice, and you can't have weeds growing in between them, and I don't know.
Well, you got to be ready to use a little, there's going to be some anti-weed chemical used on this at some point. You got to edge it, you got to weed it, so getting all this in. The other thing is, what kind of substrate are you going to use with this?
Yeah. That's important. Talking about gravel and everything.
Well, around the pavers, you need paver sand.
Right.
And I cannot stress enough that there is a big difference between sands.
Could you explain it? Because I know exactly why.
Yeah, because different sands, like you go to, you're inside the big box store, you're walking around and you see, we got bags of sand. And some of it says play sand. Well, that sand is designed to slip easily and wonderfully over each other.
Right.
Like playing at the beach.
If you go under the microscope, if you took it under a microscope, you'll see that it's smoother.
It's smoother. It's more water worn, that kind of stuff. And then you have substrate sand. And that is designed to actually be in the concrete.
Right.
It's designed to be part of a chemical process. Or I shouldn't say designed, it was selected for that.
Yeah.
Now, then you go outside, you go out by where all the rocks and the pavers are, and everybody goes, well, they sell sand over in the tile aisle. And you go, no, that sand has actually been, for all intents and purposes, sanded.
Yeah.
It's
smoother.
It's smaller. It's smoother. It's designed to be part of the grout. So you get outside and you see the big thing that says paver sand. Paver sand is the rough, tough kid that never quite finished high school of the sand department. It is designed to clump and lock together.
Right.
And that is so critical in filling little cracks or making sure something is level, or because it doesn't want to move.
Yeah, it's going to be exposed to rain and shifting weights and things like
Paver
that.
sand wants to be left alone. Put me down, leave me alone. I'm going to stay right here. So you put the paver sand down, you get the first block just right, and now it's easy to cheat because now you can just kind of cut a stencil. Cut you 2 pieces of wood, 8 inches a piece, and just stick them in between there, make sure it's straight, and boom, 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 off you go.
Right.
Then it's time to drop the rock in. This is a big question. What do you want this finished product to actually look like? Because there's more than one kind of pea gravel.
Oh, yeah.
It's
color choices and textures.
Well, there's your contractor grade, which is designed to be a surface on the concrete, which is a really small pea gravel. Really, is that what you need?
Yeah.
Is that perfect? Or, in my case, I made a beautiful choice, but almost a mistake.
Yeah.
I chose rainbow pea gravel.
So how many colors are in that?
Well, rainbow pea gravel looks like regular pea gravel until you start getting some water on it. Because then it washes all the dirt off, and you discover that it's just little bits of everything.
Okay.
And suddenly I have an install crew rock hunting.
Okay.
Ooh, there's a red one. Ooh, there's a blue one. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
They had a great time, but I probably lost a quarter bag of rock just because there were pretty rocks on top.
Okay. Yeah, but it sounds good.
It turned out so good.
And the thing about pavers, too, the last thing to remember is, if you just stick a paver on the yard or something, there's critters that would love to make their homes underneath
they will.
And they will. And it's so do you really want moles feeling comfortable 10 feet from your house and, hunkering in? So that's all the stuff you got to consider when you're doing this. So, but yeah, that sounds good. The only criticism, Allan, is you didn't take any pictures or bring them in.
Incorrect. I'm about to send you a picture right now.
Okay.
Because I knew you were going to call me out on it.
Yeah, because I want to see, see the results and everything. But okay, so we'll post those when we get a chance. But it sounds like a pretty fun week, actually. And the weather cooperated.
Oh,
I mean,
thank
we're done
goodness.
with all that stupid
yeah, but the ground was extremely soaked.
Awesome. All right, let's shift gears, you guys.
And now, the Cosmic Homeowner on Tool Talk Radio.
I was sort of torn, Alan. I didn't know if this is a cosmic homeowner or a tool tale. I think it's a combination of both.
You just had to let me push the button.
Yeah, I do like your cosmic homeowner stinger though, Max. It's good. So
Because it's Art Belly.
yeah, exactly. But Alan, so basically, I hope you have this information more at hand than I do because I forgot dates and times and everything. But basically, I came across this once again on YouTube. This story of the guy that, well, he didn't invent the chainsaw, but he drastically improved the chainsaw, and it was all a matter of spending time in nature and looking at, instead of just, I don't know, he considered what nature had to offer and by way of design, and he came up with basically something revolutionary. So,
well, yeah. Well,
do you have his name? I feel bad. I don't have the guy's name.
You're talking about either James Jeffrey or John Atkin.
Okay.
It's one of the two. I'll look it up in just a second. They are doctors, and they both invented a flexible hand-cranked saw with a serrated chain.
Yeah, and be careful how you describe it. Yeah.
Let me rephrase. They were doctors.
Right.
And this idea was for surgical procedures.
Which is shocking to me.
That's where the idea came from was, we need to get into you to fix this.
A chainsaw for basically a cesarean section, right? Is that what we're talking about? Or no, it was to avoid a cesarean section.
Well, they were...
you had to cut bone, basically.
Yeah, you had to cut through stuff. And, for different procedures, there was a hand-cranked chainsaw-like device. So
yeah, you better thank your mothers out there. Everybody that, yeah. Mothers
these things are pretty rough, man.
Okay. I'm thinking of the guy that modified it.
Now, I think you're thinking of Bernard Hine.
Okay.
All right, once again, we got to bring up Velcro. Because Velcro was a fashion idea based on stickle burrs. Why does this thing stick to my sock every time I go walking through the meadow?
Yeah.
And when you looked at it, it had all these little tiny cool hooks on it that let it climb on something.
Right.
Then you get to look at a chameleon or a gecko. And how is this fat, chubby little lizard walking straight up a pane of glass?
Right.
So you looked at his little fingerprints and you went, oh. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, we have Velcro, suction cups. We have, all these cool inventions that came straight out of nature.
Right.
And then we're going to move over to the stag beetles.
So it's called stag because their nickname is the chainsaw beetle.
Well, that's one type of a stag beetle.
Right.
But they're all wood boring as kids.
Yeah.
They're all really big grubs, like you see on the Discovery Channel. Some guy cuts down a tree and there's a giant grub living in the middle of it.
Right.
And they eat wood.
There you go.
So their mouth parts are designed to pull that wood apart.
Yeah. So don't get out there and just squish a beetle next time. Yeah. But we're going to find out how that translated into chainsaw design when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Brought to you by Mr. Beef's powdered steak batter. Fire up the grill, honey. Dinner is about to get interesting. Just mix powder with water, and in 3 hours, you will have something approximating a raw sirloin steak growing in your refrigerator. 50% science experiment, 50% protein, 100% fun. Serve your family something they'll never forget. Try Mr. Beef's powdered steak batter tonight.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Allan, what spice from Allan Spices do you stick on your Mr. Beef's? Come on, man.
I'm thinking of flamethrower.
Yeah. And welcome back. That was a good one, Max.
I think I saw it move.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and the man who deserves a medal today, Max, behind the glass. There's just enough time for a quick phone call or text at 901-683-0989. We also want to say that if you're out and about today, this really seems like an ideal day to get to the home show of the Mid-South.
Oh, yes.
It's a little overcast. I think there's a little chance of rain today. So it's a great day to get out and go to an indoor event. I mean, and it's going to be fun. And Allan, you'll be there set up with the full display of Allan's spices and all of the Tool Talk radio swag and everything.
Indeed.
Yeah, so check it out. It's a great way to get ideas for your home, and there's some new vendors that weren't there last time.
There's quite a few it's just a lot of fun to walk around. There's an improved food court this year, so that's a lot of stuff that's probably not real good for you. That's just real tasty.
Hot dogs are healthy, aren't they? Or no?
Sure, I think they are.
Yeah.
A lot of the old classics are there. I love some, especially the woodworking vendors have got some amazing stuff. However, there is just so many different innovations going on for your home. I'm going to say that this year's phrase is going to be living in place.
Okay.
Every few years you're going to need to upgrade this or upgrade that or possibly make a change. And I promise somebody there has a great idea you haven't considered yet.
Right, exactly. So, and especially if you're a young, I don't know, if you're a young homeowner and you're just getting into this game and everything, this is a great place to get ideas. And honestly, I think going to the home show, in the big picture, it saves you money too, because you can really come up with a comprehensive plan for whatever projects you want to do. And so you can eliminate the things that are going to waste you money. You can focus on the things that are going to make, that ROI. So, but anyway, yeah, and Allan will be there. Like I said, he'll be there the whole weekend. I'm going to drop by later this afternoon. So, all right, but Allan, before the break, we were talking about the history of the history of the chain. I guess we're calling it the chainsaw blade. But there was the man. He was, we were just learning that he was out looking at beetles. And he must have had really good eyes to see this detail.
They're not that small. This is not a small bug, man.
Because back in the day, we should say chainsaw blades were straight.
Right. What he saw was the chainsaw beetle, which had alternating knobs on the front part of his mandibles.
It's like he's scooping wood.
And he thought that was really cool. And then he got to looking at how the mouth parts worked. And it was like, a really interesting little pair of shears. And the way the angle and the hook was, it really smoothly removed a very thin layer of wood very effectively.
Yeah.
So the trick wasn't cut bigger and more. It was smaller, thinner, and faster.
Well, I got a question because I don't know what it would be like to use a chainsaw with straight blades. But I have to think, and I'm sure it was like your circular saw teeth where one was going to the left, one was going to the right or something, but with the little point. But I have to believe this makes it steadier because like when you're doing a chainsaw, it's pulling towards you to help keep it steady. But
the first endless chainsaw that actually was chained together and looped was actually I'm trying to remember what it was called. That was actually the osteo. It was actually literally the bone cutter. It was osteotomy.
Yeah. You don't want a giant blade for that.
You don't want a big, you want small things. But again, we're going to have to go to Europe. And right after World War I, the first electric chainsaw was invented by Andreas Steele.
So it was electric.
And it was huge. It was 116 pounds. These things were monstrous. But it's
wait, how do you? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but
you must have had a neck strap or something.
Yeah, you had friends. World War II were wheeled. You had wheels under them, and you rolled it up, and you did all this stuff. And coming back from the World War, the chainsaws started getting smaller and lighter. We started all of the tools coming back. Started getting smaller and lighter, whether we're talking Black & Decker or any of the other pre-existing tool companies. And it was Husqvarna about 1960 that came up with a muffler and a noise, a vibration reducer.
So these, because they're pretty loud now. You're saying they were even louder back then.
They were much worse.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
you could hear these things for miles. Then about 1964, steel came back into the fight and went, now it's smooth enough for one person to hold it. It's not, it's not so loud it's going to deafen you.
Yeah.
And they got the blade technology down to pretty much what we have today.
Now, here's a random aside, but an equally important question, Alan. As someone who grew up in Texas, why was the chainsaw pivotal in the creation of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Why did they use that of all weapons?
Okay.
Because it was in the script.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good, Max.
The chainsaw has been an integral part of scary, spooky houses with no chain on it, by the way, for many, many, many years because it's loud and it's terrible. And I will tell you, however, you don't want to touch one of those things. They will eat you up.
Yeah.
A chainsaw is an extremely dangerous thing.
Yeah. I mean, they're effective at what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. About 1980 is when we hit what we would consider the modern chainsaw.
Yeah.
And now they're still improving them. The new battery systems have now produced new, smaller, lighter trimming chainsaws, all based on that exact same beetle grasping little bit of technology for the blade.
Now, in your own personal practice and experience, which do you kind of recourse to more, the chainsaw or the reciprocating saw?
That is, I have about 3 of each.
Yeah.
So it really depends upon the magnitude of the job. If I've got a small limb in the, I would say as big around as my arm or smaller.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be the reciprocating saw every time.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the minute we are doing real work.
Yeah.
And one of them was I actually built a rustic bench out of a fallen tree.
Oh, you just carved out what wasn't the bench.
That was exactly it. I mean, we cut about a 20-foot long section that was about 16 inches in diameter. We cut some legs. We propped them and braced them across, and then set the cross member up in it and built a great big, huge bench. And that was all chainsaw.
That thing will last 500 years too. So
it probably will. It's very sturdy.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of interesting, to think about, oh, by the way, Denise texted in with saying, talking about chainsaws, my husband got me this, which is a steel chainsaw, a couple of weeks ago, and I love it. He brings our marriage to a whole new level every time he gets me a cool new tool.
Well, Denise, amen. Yeah, I want to see her wielding that chainsaw, man. That's pretty good.
Absolutely. And I think everybody needs to learn how to use power tools properly, but absolutely needs them.
Awesome. So, all right, guys, we're getting out of here and then heading over to the home show of the Mid-South over at the Agri Center all weekend. So, but you've been listening to another action-packed episode of Tool Talk Radio. So on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass, I'm Joe Thorderson. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.